Hi everyone, we are going to talk about Saint Augustine of Hippo. Among the philosophers here in this course, Saint Augustine is the only saint. He became a saint because he was a sinner. In his autobiography, Saint Augustine confessed that he had a sinful youth. He had regrets having led a sinful and immoral life. He shows intense sorrow for his sexual sins and writes on the importance of sexual morality. He begins the study of rhetoric, where he develops a love of wisdom. According to St. Augustine, man's self is a creature created by God, the absolute good. Man's self is created out of the goodness of God. Hence, man is good. This means that there is always inherent goodness in us. We are special because we are created out of God's goodness. Ayon kay Saint Augustine, ang mga tao ay sadyang ginawa ng Diyos. Mayroon tayong mga katangi-tanging katangian na kahit papaano sumasalamin sa likas na katangian ng Diyos mismo. Human beings were purposely produced by God to fulfill a preordained role in His world. They have peculiar qualities that somehow reflect the nature of God Himself and set them apart and above all other created beings. How much stupid or useless a person may seem, he or she has inherent goodness. Yet, this goodness was lost due to man's sins, alienation from God. Gayunpaman, ang kabutihan na ito ay nawala dahil sa kasalanan ng tao, kaya nahiwalay tayo sa Diyos. Thus, man's life in this world is in a state of moral quest and restoration of such relationship with our Creator. Sa gayon, ang buhay ng tao sa mundong ito ay nasa estado ng moral na pakikipagsapalaran at pagpapanumbalik ng gayong relasyon sa kanyang may lalam. Moral quest means that every day is a quest or pakikipagsapalaran to restore our relationship with our Creator. Saint Augustine is popular with this quote, O God, you have created us for yourself, that our hearts are restless until they find rest in you. Humans' heart can easily get restless. We easily get attached to things or being which we thought could bring us genuine happiness. We want full control of our lives, and we feel anxious or restless when things are not going on our way. In sin, man becomes incomplete or lacking happiness. That's why we have to reconnect with God. Saint Augustine mentioned the three ways on how we can reconnect. Only three ways. These three ways are very simple and generic. Saint Augustine didn't mention that we have to read Bible or go to church to reconnect. Here are the three ways. First is by correcting and redirecting the disordered love into the ultimate love of God. Second, by not expecting too much from a thing which its nature cannot provide. And the third one is by realizing that we are not self sufficient. First is by correcting and redirecting the disordered love into the ultimate love of God. Disordered love are the things we thought can bring our life a sense of fulfillment, but those things are just fleeting. Disordered love ay ang mga bagay na naisip natin na makakapagbigay sa atin buhay ng isang katuturan, ngunit ang mga bagay na iyon ay panandalian lamang. We worship into these things which turned out to be disordered love. There was a speaker that said that there is no such thing as an atheist. An atheist is the one who doesn't worship anything. The speaker said na wala daw tao na atheist because in one way or another, we worship into something. If you worship money, you think of money always. Your day is filled with thinking about how to have more money. Then, most of the time, you'll find yourself not having enough money. You easily get insecure if ever you lose a certain amount of money. If you worship beauty, you always think about how to maintain your beauty and how to be more beautiful, then you will find yourself not having enough beauty. May mga taong magaganda or mga gwapo na they are not satisfied with their beauties or with their physical appearance. Magwo-wonder na tuloy tayo na ang gaganda ng mga taong ito tapos they kept on going for plastic surgeries or enhancing their beauty seems like every day. Tapos pag may nakita silang isang wrinkle or fine line or pimple sa mukha nila, parang it's like the end of the world for them. So that's kind of disordered love because they thought that worshiping beauty could make them feel satisfied with their life, but that made them more insecure because beauty is fleeting or based on the standards of the society. So pag maputi or makinis, maganda. That's why there are a lot of girls, they're willing to risk their health just to gain that beauty being set with the society, and they believe that could bring them true happiness. So that's an example of disordered love. Another, those people who worship power, they do whatever they can just to attain power. Most of the time, they feel they don't have enough power. For example, mga politicians, it's like part of their lifestyle na to maintain that power. Kahit malayo pa yung eleksyon, palagi nang nasa isip nila na dapat nasa posisyon pa rin sila. Merong mga politician nga they are willing to kill someone just to maintain that power. So see how much addicted they are in worshiping power. Kahit meron na silang political position, eh hindi nila gusto ibigay naman sa iba ang posisyon na yun. How insecure is that? Another, if you worship a person, you focus your life onto that person, ginawa mong mundo ang isang tao. And most of the time, you feel insecure with that person. You are afraid to lose him. Matatakot ka na baka iwan ka niya or magkagusto siya ng iba. That is also a kind of disordered love. According to Saint Augustine, we should fix our disordered love and change it into the ultimate love of God. Only our relationship with God can give us the ultimate kind of love, according to Saint Augustine. That's why we must be careful on whatever we are worshiping onto or yung mga attachments natin. Maybe we thought those attachments can give us the true happiness and genuine love. For Saint Augustine, only God can give you that. Next way on how we can reconnect with God is by not expecting too much from thing which its nature cannot provide. It's a bit similar with the saying expectation is the source of all heartaches. Saint Augustine stated it beautifully because he included which its nature cannot provide. It is by nature of humans that we cannot really meet all the expectations or standards of others. Likas na sa katangian ng mga tao na hindi talaga maaabot ang lahat ng inaasahan or pamantayan ng iba. Even if we do our best, sometimes our best is not enough to meet the expectations of others. And speaking of expectations or standards, we all have standards we set onto people around us. Lahat tayo ay may mga pamantayan or standards na itinakda natin sa mga tao sa paligid natin. We really cannot truly say that we love a person just the way they are. In one way or another, we have set standards on someone. For example, when you say, I love him just the way he or she is, that is not completely true since at the back of your mind, you have some expectations on how he or she must behave unto you. If you really someone, if you really love a person as he or she is, matatanggap mo ba na kahit hindi siya nagtutoothbrush or naliligo? It might sound silly, yet see, we really have set expectations on others. If even to our parents, we set expectations from them. We have some expectations on how we should be treated by our parents. Paano kanila dapat i-care? Ano ba ang dapat sabihin ng mother mo para ma-feel mo na you are supported, well supported by them? Or even your friends, you have some expectations na ano ba ang tunay na kaibigan. Kahit different various levels of relationship, we always set standards on people around us and how we must be treated. You see, that's the reason why we easily get frustrated or disappointed because those people around you really cannot meet all the standards you have set on them. Knowing this would make us forgiving to others. Kung alam naman natin na ginawa ng tao yung best nila at hindi nila na-meet yung expectations natin, then there is no room to hate that person. The reason why we get hurt, it's not because of what the other person is doing. The reason why we get hurt is because of our expectations to others. These expectations make our life miserable. We always find mistakes in others or any situation. Just like this pandemic, many people get so depressed or anxious because they set standards on what life must be. Couples have arguments because they seek perfection on how the relationship must be. For example, bakit ganun sila? The relationship is like this. Dapat tayo rin. So that there is expectations or standards you put onto your relationship. There was a preacher in his sermon said that each person has 20% error. Meron tayong error lahat, 20%. To make your relationship last, you must learn to accept that error. However, some people, if they see an error of their partner, they try to look for another person which doesn't have that error of his or her partner. But that another person has also his or her 20% error. So, see, there is no really perfect person. Kung meron man raw isang perpektong tao, kung may nag-exist na perpektong tao, hindi rin yan makipagrelasyon sa'yo. Bakit? Kasi hindi ka naman perpekto. Ba't ka naghahanap ng perpekto? Ikaw mismo, hindi ka naman perpektong tao. So that fact gives us humility and forgiveness. One of the reasons why we claim and refuse to forgive others is self-righteousness. We have offended others too in one way or another, and we should forgive and free from expectations. The third way on how we can reconnect with God is by realizing that we are not self-sufficient. By realizing that we are not self-sufficient means that we are not source of everything we need. Siguro sa hirap ng buhay, we already have that thinking na we don't need anyone. In terms of spirituality, we must realize that we can't do it all and we need to lean on to God. We must not let our pride say that we are always in control of everything. As humans, we are limited and we must have that humility to accept that we are not self-sufficient. When we always think that we are in control of everything, we became frustrated if things won't go along our ways. If we think that we are always in control, we easily get panic when we reach our limitations. During this pandemic, many people are extremely frustrated since everything is out of control. Scientists thought that they could create vaccine in just 4 to 6 months, and it took them 1 year without the assurance of the result. Humans thought that we are in control of any circumstances happening on earth. We thought that we can conquer it all, and that is the source of disappointment and dissatisfaction. When we learn to reconnect to God, our restless hearts would operate by faith and not fear. I'm gonna tell you a story related to this. This is a story of a truck got stuck in an underpass. The truck driver could not get through the way because if they pushed through, the truck and the cargo inside would be damaged. What do you think is the best way to do here? The best way is to deflate the wheels so the top of the truck won't hit the underpass. Very easy, but it took time for them to configure it. It's only deflating the wheels. It's like deflating our ego and pride. Sometimes, when life hits so hard and we cannot get through, and it's very impossible to get through these problems,
However, the solutions to these very complicated problems that we are experiencing is very simple: humility. By realizing that we are not self sufficient and we put our restless hearts to God. Again, the three ways are by correcting and redirecting the disordered love into the ultimate love of God. Second, by not expecting too much from a thing which its nature cannot provide. And the third one is by realizing that we are not self sufficient. These ways require the exercise of free will. Free will means that choosing to turn towards God or away from God. Getting reconnected with God is not compulsory, hindi ito sa pilitan. We have the choice to turn towards to Him or not, but in choosing to be with God needs God's grace, and for we do not possess spiritual powers to do the good we have chosen. And that's the end of the discussion of the philosophy of St. Augustine in relation to understanding the self. Thank you for listening.